And there we go. Max Verstappen wins the USGP in purely just easy fashion. The McLaren's taken out. I think that was a big contribution to what happened here. Some reason Photoshop is not working, but for the graphic to be upgraded, we will have a 26%, 5 race wins out of 19. Still does not put him in the driver's championship seat, but he is quickly making work of that due to McLaren being unable to do what a team should do for a driver leading in the driver's championship if it's not Lando. I do think that if Lando was leading now based off what happened last season, they would have moved quicker to defend this shit. This race was literally boring. I dozed off before 19 laps came, and then I decided I was going to do something more with my time. And I'm not lying to you. I went and I grabbed my clippers and edged up a senior citizen and got him all cleaned up. That's what I did while watching F1 TV on my phone. That's how boring this race was. I said, there's got to be something better I can do with my time. And you know what I can do better with my time? I can be loving, caring, and get somebody looking nice and cleaned up. And that will make me feel better about today than watching this boring ass race. This race, I am ultimately surprised about how boring this race was. I am. I'm literally ultimately surprised about how, I don't know if it was the implementation of trying to get them to do a two-stop. I don't know what it was. It was a boring quali. This overall sprint weekend for Coda was not good. I don't know if it's the sprint format maybe that made it not great, but it was not a very, it wasn't an entertaining race. It was very boring. Quali was boring. The race was boring. But still, there were a couple of things that you learned here. There are a couple of things you learned here. One thing for sure that we did learn is that everybody trying to sell that Max Verstappen has been an attractor all this time is lying. They're lying. It's never been an attractor. The most important thing that you learned about today is McLaren have been backing the wrong driver. Okay? McLaren have been backing the wrong driver. Lando Norris taking an obnoxiously amount of time to get past Charles Leclerc on aging soft compound tires was an indictment. That was completely an indictment. It was absolutely bullschwackles. And let me tell you what else is worse. Why is it constantly that we're getting this lift and coast BS for Lewis Hamilton? Why is it that we're constantly getting this lift and coast? And might I add, Charles Leclerc, if you were going to go into the pits, you almost pushed the lines of going against your teammate who clearly had more pace than you to almost take 2 Ferraris out. So in one weekend, we would have had 2 McLarens out, not by their own doing, but 2 McLarens out, and then we would have had 2 Ferraris out. Charles Leclerc, bro, you didn't have the pace, and I do commend you because Lando didn't have the know-how to get past you. He just didn't. Mary Bean in the super chat says, McLaren totally screwing Pia. Lewis done his best. Lewis did his best for sure. But I will say this. I think another thing that killed McLaren was going out in the damn sprint race and not having enough time. You got to understand, a sprint race weekend is so condensed. There's not a lot of time for you to make adjustments. So all the time that you miss on track is compounded on what you will not have going into the race for this day on Sunday. Paul in the super chat says, smash the like, y'all. Hope everyone's weekend was great. Brother, it's been one of those weekends where I've spent more time with just the fam. I'll tell you that. Inshore Frames, welcome back 2023, Inshore Frames says. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you this. Lando Norris is not the guy. Lando Norris is not the guy. I'm just telling you. Lando Norris is not the guy. He's not the guy. McLaren wants Lando to be the guy, but he's not the guy. He's not the one that's gonna do what you need to be done when it is time for a driver to nail it down and get past somebody. He's not that guy. He can't make it happen. And you all in McLaren want to continuously think that we are going to believe it at some point in time. No. Lando Norris spent so much time behind Leclerc, it was ridiculous. He had nothing in his bag. He's got nothing like Piastri could have in order to bring a fight to a driver like Max Verstappen. It's just true. It's just true. Big shout out to Nasty Stu dropping the best gift that you can get ever is Wolfpack memberships and Pure Black, Vidum, Big Natty, mainly the Samad Show. What's up, brother? I like cake forever. I like cake too. I wish I could eat it more than I do. Cake is absolutely awesome. Chalk and Lance, welcome to the Wolfpack fam. We also have Lucius, Scott, and who else do we got? We got Big D in the house. Big D from, what was that, Friday? Big D, got to get them Twinkie. Self-made maintenance in the Super Chat, 35 months of a membership says, Lando took the whole race to fight back to P2. He is weak as cat. Oh, he's weak as cat is. I need the Ferrari 27 car to be stronger than this shitbox team. Let's go, LH44. Oh my gosh, bro. It's one of those things you see, it just hits you. The weak as cat piss. I don't even know if I've heard that one. That was pretty good, bro. Paul in the super chat says, Charles holding up Lewis was letting his pride get in the way. Facts. Absolutely facts. That is ultimately true of what's right and best for the team. Charles should have known better without needing to team orders to tell him. Facts, bro. He should have. He didn't have it, and he almost, man, you're facts, bro. Facts. He almost crippled the whole team for good points. This could have easily been no Ferrari on podium and nobody on finishing the race. Instead, Ferrari get one podium by Charles, and Hamilton is in fourth place. There is a conversation that needs to be had for Charles Leclerc. For sure. He just didn't have it. Lewis Hamilton is gaining more experience. Remember, Lewis Hamilton said the rest of this season is all about testing for me. The rest of this season is all about testing for me. He's learning more about this Ferrari. Only bad thing is this. That car is changing next season. The learning curve might be less steep, but it's still going to be steep. Matter of fact, this race was so boring. I made a post thrower with my baby. We went and did a science project. We went and bought equipment during this race. I watched it on F1 TV. We were in the garage building while the race was getting ready to start. This race was boring. I did a couple of things. A science project. I trimmed up. You know what I'm saying? Trimmed up. I mean, what are we talking about? This was bad. But yeah, Lando's not that guy. He's not that guy at all. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that McLaren wants somebody to be something that they obviously really can't be without help. Just can't be. They just can't. Other than that, I mean, what do we really have to say here? Oh, I will say this. F1 Minute is going to be coming back, chat. F1 Minute is going to be coming back. Don't be surprised if you see a post for F1 Minute for Monday, tomorrow, or next week, Monday, all right? Don't be surprised. F1 Minute will be back. That is where I want to hear more about you and your views on Formula One, the races so far, and especially this race. So don't be surprised. Do not forget that will allow you to come on live in real time and add your commentary to the group. Samaj Show says, we took a family nap during the race, and brother, you know I live in Austin. I couldn't even go watch this BS. Yo, Samaj Show lives in Austin. He's at the epicenter of the GP weekend, and that's how he felt about it. Kamisha, what's up? In the live chat says, I've applied for a lift and coach. Yo, clowning, yo. I've applied for a lift and coach job. I found it pays millions because there's no freaking way it's free of charge to keep saying this shit. Oh, snap. Y'all are rolling. Paul in the super chat says, tacos for dinner tonight. Get ready for Mexico next race. Mexico City usually is a good race. You know what? It doesn't feel right going into Mexico without Checo, man. It just doesn't feel right going into Mexico without Checo. It doesn't. I don't even care about how Checo's performance was. It don't feel right about going into Mexico without Checo. It just doesn't to me. It's not even going to be the same. It's going to be different. We'll get used to it. But Checo will be back next season and going into Mexico with Checo with the official American team in Formula One. It's going to be crazy. Insure Frames in the super chat says, I agree with Norris not being that guy, but to be honest, neither is Piastri. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that right there, brother. Azerbaijan was such an indictment, and also his performance at Singapore and Coda. Okay, I'll give you on that. Suddenly the light are bright on the bros choke. I definitely will agree on that. Lights bright, there is a bit of choking going on. These McLaren drivers are both fraud. I'm not going to say they're both frauds. Lando Norris is for sure fraud. Piastri, the jury's still out on him being a fraud. I think that's going a bit far. Wish Ferrari were faster so we can actually have a World Driving Championship worthy drivers other than Max fighting. Yo, hey, Derwin, I have to agree to an extent too, man. I agree with most of that. I do. I agree with most of that, for sure. And I will say the team McLaren is also choking. McLaren's not doing their best. I'm with you, Derwin, on that, and Insure Frames. I have to agree with you on most of that, man, for real. I think Insure Frames, most of his take is on board. I'm not going to – Piastri's not a fraud. That part is out. I'm not on that. Piastri's not a fraud, but I will say he hasn't – it seems to be where we viewed Piastri as Iceman. And it seemed to be a point where he got aggravated with McLaren and some of the BS. And since then, it really hasn't been right. Now, I will also say this. Piastri's pace at Coda is quite interesting. It's quite interesting, honestly. I'm going to say that. It's been quite interesting. So I'm going to leave it there. McLaren Achilles heel is dirty air, nasty stew. Hey, clean. You know what clean air is godly, bro. Clean air is godly, especially in this era of cars. Freak dogs flare in the house. This race was boring. I agree, bro. It was completely. Also, Antonelli would have been close to George or higher if not for Sainz. Indeed, bro. It's nice to see you, freak dog. What's up, freak dog? Yeah, this race was absolutely it was a stale fest. Not quite as bad as Monaco, but bad enough for me to not be interested in it. What's up, Wolfpack fam? 083 up there. So, yeah, I know something else that we also learned. Ferrari, better late than never, seem to have found a bit of pace through the last couple of racing events, actually. I think, honestly, it may be possible, depending on the circuit, but it's possible Lewis Hamilton on a podium, maybe before the end of the season. Really could have been Coda. Really was close to being Coda. I don't want to say coulda. It was close to being Coda, but it wasn't. But he is learning, and he is becoming more effective in that Ferrari. I will say that. But this lift and coast crap is a bit crazy, all right? So I don't know. What do you think about that? Are you out on McLaren? Coming into the chat. Got to know, are you out on McLaren? Because I don't think that McLaren are going to handle the Drivers' Championship correctly. They mishandled it already. It's coming back to bite them in their ass, but I really don't think so because I think they're seeing what they want to see. They want Lando really out in front. And I think Piastri knows this, and what I would tell Piastri is, bro, mentally, if you're going to let this get to you, you got to get over it and you got to go on the attack. I'm just telling you, the papaya rules have killed Oscar all season. They have. Facts, extracts, facts. Papaya rules have killed Piastri all season with the BS. Absolutely facts, bro. It's a shame. Other than that, Yuki, let's give Yuki a hand. Let's give Yuki a hand. Yuki in 7th, getting some points, a better drive for him today at Coda. Didn't look like it was going to happen that way based off what was going on in the race weekend, but I like it. I do like it. All right. And who else do we got? We got Freak Dogs Flair again in the super chat says, I have been good, but lost my job recently. Hey, man, listen, there's a lot, bro. I wish you ain't too far off, but I'm able to watch mine for a different reason because of my medical situation. I am a Mercedes fan and always will be. I hope George is right for 26. George deserves more than Mercedes is giving him. He deserves more than Mercedes giving him, bro. George, to me, George has proven, at least for what's available and what's there, that he's doing what he needs to be doing. Even through all the shenanigans of Toto Wolff going to Victoria's Secrets and picking up a pair of draws, hoping to entice Max Verstappen to come over to Mercedes. Even with Toto Wolff getting into Adam and Eve's online catalog, trying to find all the freak toys he can find to get Max Verstappen to come over to his high-rise penthouse and hopefully persuade him to sign at Mercedes. Russell has stayed the course of, those trophies are absolutely dope. Hook them. He has stayed the course of, I'm showing you I'm the best available option you have with the car that you're providing. So shout out to Russell. Otto McLaren J, I left the building after the Bro was gone. I got you, bro. 63% said yes. All right, so I got a bigger question to ask you all. Is Max Verstappen going to take the 2025 World Driving Championship? Are you willing to go that far? The Leon son is in the house. Said it before, Pia is bad in American region tracks last 2 seasons. I can see the media PR. If Max wins the WC, he had no luck all season. Oh, well, you know that, bro. They're going to spin it. Max has been in a competitive car all season, although way different than the utmost ridiculous dominant form it was in. Max has been in a top competitive car all season. So that they're going to sell that narrative. Jacquees short midget ass is trying to sell it already. Jolyon Palmer's going to hop on the bandwagon train. Everybody else is going to dramatize it. There's going to be a lot of content creators that that going to dramatize it for all the devil's advocate that they play, trying to get as many viewers as they can. They're going to dramatize it. But the truth is, Max Verstappen, good driver, awesome driver, has been in a competitive car, and Max doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And Max is going to optimize on track, although I don't care for his driving style because it's pretty irresponsible and reckless, and he's not penalized enough for it. Freak Dogs, George has shown the Mercedes car has pace. He has. J. Rob in the super chat. What's up, J. Rob? What's up, brother? Let's not forget that Zach and Lando are business partners. Don't forget about that. Zach recently resigning as CEO and managing director of Lando's company we talked about this weekend. So he will pick Lando over Oscar. Oscar is the better driver. Big facts. Big facts, Big Rob. Big facts. Nasty Stu in the super chat. Max by himself is going to pull Red Bull second in constructor. That's wild that's wild. That is wild. And it will be because derelict actions up on McLaren and Ferrari. Even though I have all my cookies in the jar for Lando for 2025, Derwin says, I'm still going to Cadillac 2026. Peace and love to you all. He drops the mic. Derwin said, hey, I'm out this mug. And I'm out. Hey, bro, I'm going to tell you like this. When Cadillac come, I'm American is American. I'm gonna be boasting up some Cadillac in Formula One. I've been looking at getting a Cadillac 1987 DeVille coupe with 3 pumps, 8 batteries, 13x7, all 100-spoke gold D's, just so I can say I'm rolling with Cadillac and put some D's on that bitch. I've been looking at it. Freak Dogs Flex say, don't forget about Audi and Ford entering as power units. That is true. Audi's entering as a team and a power unit, too. That's going to be dope as well. Yeah, I'm looking for a Cadillac. My favorite and most childhood dream car is a 1963, 64 Impala SS. But right now, I've been looking at a Cadillac, put some D's on it. I'm just saying, Cadillac come in, I might have to do it. I can't paint it yellow. That's going too far. I can't have a banana boat. Going to have to be black, shimmer, and gold. But I got this integrated finish, which is coming along great. But yeah, it was boring today. Albon and Sainz definitely not doing the best for Williams right there. Antonelli, at least he didn't wreck out. Stroll is where Stroll is. Alonso putting Aston Martin on his back still for just collecting a point. Behrman up to 9th. Hulkenberg up to 8th. And Ferrari are just a scooch. Ferrari just a scotch faster and a bit above. And how about Colapinto? They said, yo, bro, switch out. And Colapinto say, huh? Say what? I didn't hear you. Huh? What? Didn't hear you. Went by. Color Pinto did his thing. Freak Dogs Flair said, would that mean I'll be 12 teams next year? No, because Audi is taking over Kick Sauber, and then Cadillac is coming in. So that's 11 teams next season, I believe. That's going to be 11 because Ford is just coming by way of a power unit collaboration with Red Bull. So technically it's 11 teams on the grid, although 2 new teams are coming. One is coming by way of a team already existing, which is Kick Sauber gone and Audi in, but Cadillac would be coming in as themselves. Kermisha in the chat says, I really feel like my prayers and landing on devil's door and not heaven's because I'm prayed for P3, however good, and Charles for the fight with Lando. I really thought Lewis was going to get that, but once I saw what Charles was doing and then the lifting coast, it wasn't going to happen. Lewis would have needed to call a boss shot and get his pit stop in first. He would have needed to call a ball shot. Mechanic Mercedes says, proud American, but sticking with Mercedes. I feel you, bro. I mean, you know, I'm with Piastri, but when Cadillac come in, I'm not saying I'm just jumping on it. But I am going to represent some Cadillac. It's an American team. I'm hoping they come in and do good. If they stink, it's going to suck, but it is what it is. 52% of y'all said yes, max on that. I want to know, do you all think that it's going to come down to just single-digit points? Let me see. Three drivers. Do y'all think that that's going to happen? Stephen Myers in the house. I want to call you Michael Myers since it's the month of October, and big shout out to all my breast cancer survivors. Says the spoiler damage prior to the race starting by McLaren was a little suspect to me. Talk on that. What else we got right here? We got big situations going on right there. We got Freak Dogs Flair says Red Bull won't be in good position next year going with Ford instead of staying with Honda. I'm also American and sticking with Mercedes. I got you. I feel you on that. Nasty Stu says next year Lewis will be faster than Leclerc. They both will be on equal footing. I agree on that too. That likely will be the case because Lewis is learning this car. Lewis is definitely learning this car. It's definitely coming. It's coming to him. It is coming to him. So I'm hoping that it's going to be awesome. I'm hoping that it's going to be a better time. I'm hoping that they will actually be more competitive, and we will see. All right, we will see. With that being said, listen, I'm pretty sure there's something better you all can find to do with your Sunday than this race, because this race was ultimately a snooze fest, kind of sort of like Monaco. So go watch some NFL football, go drink some water, go get some tacos. Freak Dogs Flair in the super chat says also Coda Austin, Texas racetrack to stay on until 2034. Both Mercedes drivers love race. They do. Actually, I don't think Charles minds Coda either. But definitely Lewis and Russell definitely like Coda. Definitely. Paul says setting the stage for grandstand finish at the circuit. At the circus. I agree. I do agree, man. And I kind of don't like that if that is the case. It just seems a little too coincidental. And you know what I say? If something is too coincidental, it's probably not a coincidence at all. So we'll see what happens. We're going to be back here. We still got a few more races on this calendar. Still got some time to see how this is going to pan out. If McLaren's going to be up to par in the next few circuits, how Piastri will come about, all of that is going to be happening. So, peace and love to you all. Go do something exciting. Live your life and all of that good stuff. Derwin Hill says, Jay trying to watch some football. I ain't mad. Hey, bro, I'm actually probably going to go in the garage and work on the JDM lights. Actually, I'm probably going to go and work on the JDM headlights, brother, for real. That's probably really what I'm going to do. When is Lewis going to stop playing nice guy? That's a good question. Does anybody want to answer that? When is Lewis going to stop playing nice guy? Ferrari did him dirty today. Favoritism, maybe. Fact, does anybody else feel that way? Does anybody else feel that Lewis Hamilton needs to buck up? I'm telling you, like, buck up for real. Not like these letters, not let's have a meeting, Can we talk about it? Does anybody feel like Lewis needs to buck up in such a way where it's, hey, do you know who you talking to? That type of buck up. Stephen says Lewis is definitely coming. Every drive has been improvement minus the gremlins. Lewis is an assassin, very surgical when he's on. I'm looking for next year. So let me ask you this. How you feel about the regs changing, though? And then changing the car? Because that's going to be very important, right, Stephen? The regs changing and changing the car is going to be a very important situation. That's going to be very big. It almost puts Lewis back into an entire learning cycle as well as Charles Leclerc. How much of what is he learning this season is actually going to correlate to next season? That's a big question. What's up, BTG? Bust them guns. I got to ask you that. Kamisha says he needs to be the old Lewis again. I agree. He needs to be that Lewis when, what's his name? What's the guy's name? I don't know why I forgot his damn name, man. Damn. Y'all know who I'm talking about, dude. Right now, he's trying to steal for 2008, working at Ferrari. He's still trying to get his rep, trying to get some comeback for that. I don't know why his name escapes me right now, but Massa. Felipe Massa. He needs to be that Lewis. When Felipe Massa came by and touched him, Lewis was like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. What the fuck are you thinking? That's the Lewis that we need, honestly. That's the Lewis we need. Going from DRS to NOS boost button, gonna be like Fast and the I hope it's like Fast and the Furious 1. Cause any of the other Fast and the Furious are almost like sci-fi movies. Those Fast and the Furious are pretty much sci-fi movies, and I don't dig those Fast and the Furious. So I hope it's more like the first one. But yeah, this is gonna be crazy. I think active aero versus ground effects will fit Lewis better. You know what? Derwin brings up a very good point. Because I think that some would debate that the ground effects era hasn't necessarily been the best for Lewis Hamilton. I think that that's a fair debate for people to say, hey, certain cars, certain eras maybe don't fit certain drivers, and I think maybe the ground effects era hasn't been the best for Lewis. It definitely wasn't at Mercedes because they screwed up that design for 3 seasons. So now we have to wonder, is this active aero going to be a tool that will better fit the assassin, as Stefan said? Lewis being a staffing, being assassin, being surgical. Is this going to be a tool in which this assassin or this surgeon can operate very cunningly? Incredible Facts Quest in the chat said, I've told you guys every time Lewis gets close, the wall tells him to lift and coast. Actually, you did. You absolutely did. And that is absolutely what we're hearing. Lift and coast. Lift and coast. So yeah, you're absolutely correct about that. And it's, like I said, it's not a coincidence. Not in my book anyway. If something happens so much so, it's not a coincidence. Stefan says, it went up fast right there, Stefan. Okay, I got you. It may depend on the amount of DNA remaining in the cars from this season. Good point. Nearly a clean slate of all drivers. I think Lewis will be ready. He advocated for next year's development. You know what else is good about that, Stefan? That point you made about nearly a clean slate for all drivers, because then what we do know is it will also depend on the learning curve of the drivers. And while some have criticized Lewis Hamilton, I think a bit unfairly this season, his learning curve for the Ferrari hasn't really been bad. Lewis Hamilton's learning curve for the Ferrari hasn't been bad. He's come about pretty well. Leclerc he's been in the points majority every race this season. He lightweight almost was close to getting a podium in this race. His learning curve and his ability to learn and adapt, I think people may have to take that back for those who said Lewis can't adapt, because that was a big talking point for a lot of people that were trying to harshly criticize and write Lewis off is he can't adapt. And I really think he's proved those people wrong. He's proved those people false. for sure. In my opinion, he has. I think his learning curve, I think his ability and what we're seeing right now, especially if this continues out for the rest of the season, yeah, you got to walk that back. You definitely have to walk it back. I mean, you got to be objective about that. I've even said if Max Verstappen comes back and wins a championship, regardless if it's by the hands of McLaren mishandling their drivers, that's not Max's job to help McLaren with their driver orders. That's McLaren's job. And ultimately, McLaren will look like a bunch of assholes when that does happen. And if it happens, they better hope it doesn't happen. There's going to be a lot of flack for it. I don't think Zach's going to care because he got what he wanted. He's going to either Lando's not going to be a driver's championship before you, or nobody's going to be a driver's champion at McLaren. And we are going to pretty much be happy with just the Constructors' Championship. Hey, Racer X, tell me why you deleted that, brother, because I might handle it a bit further than you did, bro. I might take it a bit further. Freak Dogs Flair, can I just point out George has gotten in the top 10 except Monaco? I would go further and say top 5 except 2 races, or am I wrong? No, George has been doing an awesome job, for real, bro. He has been cooking. This Russ has been cooking. I think Russell has been doing a good job, honestly, and I've been advocating for Mercedes to treat him better than what he has been treated. Oh, I can view it right here. My bad. Oh, I got you. Hey, Racer X210, don't worry about it, brother. I'm finna make magic. Brother. There you go. Anybody with a stupid-ass profile name like that probably shouldn't be on here anyway. So, yeah, I got you, Racer X210. I see you doing your work. I'm going to go ahead and take it a bit further, bro. Right there. Bam. It's a done deal. Let me see right here. We got Uno on the Super Chat says, Lewis best being back is the mastermind again. Indeed. Appreciate you, Racer X210, being on top of that. Sylvia with Kelly doing her thing in the Super Chat. Yeah, he gone. You know we do magic tricks around here. You know, every time them hoes come around, they just come around when it's a front-runner situation. But when it's not a front-runner situation, where are they at? Quiet, under a rock, shimmering, just hoping. And then they're not here. For months, for weeks, we never saw any of them because of what was happening. But, you know, you get your boy up top one time and you think you just come out and you think you run like, come on, man, you weak as hell. You know what we call them people? We call them bitches. It's bitches. I just say it like it is. So, yeah, so anyway, we got a situation. We do have a competition on our hands. And I'm open for this competition. I'm open for Max Verstappen to rival McLaren because I think McLaren should be exposed. There comes a time when a guy who you don't respect as far as their character integrity on track is useful. And in this situation, Max Verstappen is useful. He's going to teach McLaren a lesson. Matter of fact, Red Bull as a whole, the way they operate are going to teach McLaren a lesson. That doesn't work if you want to win. That doesn't work. What works is when you know you have your number one guy, and that number one guy clearly is the number one guy, even though you didn't plan on him being the number one guy. You protect the champion. You protect who is out front by at least 100 points at one point in time, close to 100 points. At one point in time, I believe over 60, but I think it was close to 100 points at one point in time. He was over Max Verstappen. You protect that, and they didn't. Zach Brown is going to look foolish for that. He's ultimately going to look foolish. Nobody's going to applaud Zach Brown the way about papaya rules, about none of that crap. If Piastri or not even Lando win the driver's championship, he's going to look dumb. Freak Dogs Flesh says also the commentator gave George respect for pulling up Max. Yo, I'm going to tell you this. Russ went in. When Russ pulled that move on Max Verstappen, I applauded that. Because that's what you got to do, and that's what you have to be able to have in your bag in order to race against somebody like Max. Russell has what it takes to race against Max. Lewis has what it takes to race against Max to a degree. He's got to tighten up some things because sometimes he give a little bit when he shouldn't. Oscar Piastri has what it takes to race against Max. Carlos has what it takes to race against Max. Lando does not. Charles, I question that. I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it a buck. Does it? Julius in the Super Chat says, papaya Red Bulls for everyone. I'm telling you, McLaren about to trick this off. I promise you, I do not buy Red Bull products. If Red Bull win this championship and they actually come out with a papaya Red Bull flavored drink, I won't drink it, but I will buy it and I will put it here on display and say this is McLaren. I will. That will be the ultimate troll. And Zach Brown, while you had your water tire sippy cup, it's not going to outshine that. While you thought you were slick and cunning with the water tire, the water tire sippy cup, that was cool because Christian Horner was on his troll gremlin crap, and it was good. I'll give you that. But if you get trolled by Red Bull for messing up the drivers' championship, with a Red Bull officially launched product that will be around the world for many to consume of a papaya flavor, yeah, bro, you ain't gonna live that down. You're not living that down. There's no living that down. And I'm gonna join in on that. All facts. I'm gonna join in on that. I'm just keeping it a buck. This is how horrible. This is horrible in my opinion. So, but it is what it is. Let's see what the schedule brings next week. What does the schedule bring next week? Let's see who we got. This is why Andres Stella keeps talking. Where's Zach Brown? We need to be asking Zach Brown these questions. That's who needs to be up here answering these questions. Let's see. We got the schedule. We got Mexico next on the 24th. So we actually are back in here on the 24th. So that's going to be good. And the race time, let me see the race time because I do have an event that day since we kind of still on this side. Oh, yeah. We're going to be good for the race. We definitely going to be good for the race. We're going to be good for quality. We're going to be good all that weekend. My appointment is well before that, and I will be in the seat and in the house watching that race. So we are all good for next week, should be. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens. So big shout out to everybody. We're about to get out of here. Peace and love. I might see you for F1 Minute tomorrow. Just look out for the post, or I might wait until after Mexico because I think there's some things that might take place in Mexico. So we'll see about that. But unfortunately for Piastri, a bit further back than I thought he should have been, and I wonder why he was that further back. But some feel as if it might have been the circuit or American circuits, and we'll see about that because we'll be in Mexico, which technically is still on this side of the globe. So we'll see how that goes. All right, y'all. Y'all stay up. Y'all stay healthy. Peace. We're out. And Freak Dolls Flair gave another one. Hold on. What if Pepsi became sponsors of Mercedes or McLaren? I wouldn't give a damn, honestly. That wouldn't matter. That honestly wouldn't matter, honestly. If they became sponsors of Mercedes or McLaren, that honestly wouldn't mind. It wouldn't matter. It's still but it would matter from a product standpoint because Pepsi being rivaled by Red Bull and them having papaya, that kind of would bring in some things. So we'll see how that is. All right, and we'll go from there. So all right, you all, we're about to be out of here. This race was boring, but there were some things we learned. I will see you all on the next one. Peace and love. We're out.